You're listening to Oh My Health, There Is Hope podcast.
When your heart is aching and your world is shaking, don't give up. No, don't give up.
Hello and welcome to Oh My Health, There Is Hope podcast. I'm your host, Jana Short, and today I am here with my very special guest, Tamara Golden. Tamara is the owner and CEO of Journeywork Retreats, a retreat strategy and planning company operating across the U.S. and worldwide, combining 20 plus years in travel, event planning, and coaching. Tamara developed a proprietary retreat strategy and planning process that helps you design, market, fill, and monetize your retreats. Through a range of services, Journeywork Retreats is committed to supporting coaches, healers, and transformation leaders like you in crafting retreats that accelerate outcomes for your clients while increasing enrollments, referrals, and revenue for your business. Tamara, I don't know what I would do without you because we struggled doing retreats on our own, which took us out of our zone of genius. We were exhausted. We were running around managing everything. So I am so grateful to you for doing this series. Thank you.
Oh, it's my pleasure, Jen. I know there's a lot of out there who really have a strong calling and are very committed to the idea of doing retreats, but a lot of them don't know where to begin. And I get that question a lot, Tamara, I don't know what I don't know. And so I want to make sure that your listeners know what they need to know.
I love it. So this episode is going to be why in-person retreats are hot and here to stay. And they are here to stay. And by the way, not only do I love doing them, I am a retreat junkie. I love going to them because you bond with other people at those retreats that last forever and really take your business to the next level. So I'm going to let you talk about why in-person retreats are hot and here to stay.
Well, one of the things that I really want to have your listeners wrap their heads around is why we're even talking about retreats. Okay. Why retreats? Why would you even think about adding retreats to your business? I mean, yeah, sure. You go off to some beautiful location and you have a wonderful bonding experience. And yes, they can help increase revenue for your business and help you grow your business. And that's actually, by the way, going to be one of my upcoming podcasts where we're going to focus on that. But what is it about this retreat experience that is so profitable and is so successful when you add it to your business? And that's what I want to talk about today. So let's talk about the first and foremost is that normally you're taking your clients, a subset of your clients, off to some place that's spectacularly beautiful. Okay. I want you to understand that doesn't have to be Bali. It doesn't have to be the South Pacific. And you don't have to get on a plane and go really, really far away. Some people do that, but you could do that 2 hours up the road at some beautiful location not far from you that's in your own state or in the next state over. It can be even a beautiful venue, your own city or town or region. So I want people to understand that this aspect, though, is getting physically away from all of your distractions and from your home and allowing yourself to enter into that very sacred bubble, that sacred space we talk about, that retreat space. But I want to talk about that travel factor because the travel factor is really important. And I just want to say a few words about that because travel right now, as you and I are talking about this, is just opening up post-pandemic. It's inching its way back to the surface. Borders are opening up. People are clamoring to travel. And there is a pent-up desire and demand for people to get out and about because it's been a year plus of not being able to go a whole lot of interesting places, at least for the majority of Americans. And here's what you need to understand. Going into the pandemic, going into 2020, Americans were spending more disposable income than ever before on travel, and not just any type of travel. And here's what's super important. Okay, everybody have your ears perked up for this one. The hottest trend in travel was and continues to be and will be again wellness travel. Now let's talk about this for a second, okay? Wellness travel is travel. It's basically vacationing while enhancing one's physical, mental, or spiritual well-being. All right, let me repeat that because that merits repeating. It's vacationing while enhancing one's physical, mental, or spiritual well-being. Now, I don't know about you, but that's the definition of a retreat, okay? That's the definition of a retreat. So that is the hottest trend in travel. And here's what I want to say to you. These wellness travelers spend on average about 178% more than your average traveler on their domestic travels. And they're spending 63% more than the average traveler on their international travelers, on their international trips. So, and we're seeing this, by the way, this spending on wellness travel, we're seeing it across the board. We're seeing it in millennials, we're seeing it in Gen Xers, we're seeing it in baby boomers. But listen up, okay? Because the largest demographic who are spending money on wellness travel are well-educated women 30 to 60 years old. Now, how many of you are serving that demographic? I'm going to guess an awful lot. So if you are serving in particular that demographic, let me just tell you that you are sitting on a gold mine, because these ladies, they want to travel and they want these types of experiences. So the good news in all of this, I mean, just to couch all of that, Jana, is to say that, you know, your clients are seeking these types of retreat experiences, and they are willing to pay for them. If you're not stepping up and offering them to your tribe, somebody else is, and they're going to go spend their money with somebody else. So I'm going to stop there and let you see if you anything that needs clarifying. But I just think it's really important for your listeners to understand that I'm not just talking about retreats from the kumbaya sort of feel good spiritual healing transformation space. I mean, that is what I'm dedicated to in my heart of hearts. But I want you to understand there is a real business opportunity here, people. Folks are out seeking these types of experiences, and they are spending ziboku bucks to attend them.
Well, I am one of those people because I learn better in person. I have to have that one-on-one connection. I will tell you that the retreats I've done, first of all, started out with just fun in mind, right? Like I just wanted to meet with these incredible people one-on-one instead of on social media, and they exploded. And not only did they become a really big thread of my business and brand, but they are booking before they even leave the retreat because they have so much fun. They don't want to be, it's like the FOMO, right? Miss out on whatever's coming next. So I do mine quarterly. I mean, what are your recommendations for people and brands? Of course, I didn't start out quarterly, right? I just put my toe in. But once it rolled, it creates this amazing, beautiful beast in your business, a beast for education, a beast to monetize, and a beast for bonding and connecting with those clients that you have online.
Yes, and creating and solidifying your community, because face it, you can't be an influencer if you don't have a community. So, I mean, if you're here to bolster your influence and you want that influence, you want that impact in the world, and you also want that added income, usually you want all three, right, to be successful in your business and to really be out there being an influencer. Retreats really is something, it's something that you should consider adding to your business. And I just want to say this, I know I might sound like a broken record, Jana, but I mean, honestly, let's take a look at the silver lining of the pandemic. The pandemic has been challenging for a lot of people for a lot of reasons, but if you put your business person hat on and look at the silver lining, historically, we have never been coming out of a time when the entire globe was in lockdown, okay? And hopefully never again in any of our lifetimes, right? Will we do this again? But think of the opportunity here. I cannot emphasize enough. I mean, talk to your own circles or talk to the people in your family, talk to your clients. The pent up demand and desire for people to get together in person and reconnect and be in community and heal and process and regroup, whether they're doing it professionally, whether they're doing it personally, whether they're doing it both, I don't care. And however it is that you serve your clients and you're whether you're a coach, a healer, a transformation leader, stepping into that space and providing that for your clients, there is such a demand and such a need. Partner that with the pent-up demand and desire for travel. And I am telling you that historically, right now, the people who get out in front of this curve of offering in-person retreats are going to be knocking it out of the park. Why do I know that? Because I have clients who've been already offering retreats right now and months ago. I'm talking about all throughout 2021 and a few in 2020, the few daring few, and filling those retreats. So I'm not just talking fluff. The facts are out there. The proof is in the pudding. The people who are offering retreats right now to their tribe, for those who want to attend and are just jonesing for this opportunity, they're filling their retreats. They're filling them.
So Tamara, a lot of people, including me, when I first saw retreats or I went to retreats, they were fun and I always wanted to include them, but it seemed so overwhelming what had to get done, right? It's scary. And you'll see retreats with 50, 100, 200, up to what Tony Robbins does for his retreats, right? They can get really big, but they don't have to be. Some of the best retreats are like mine. I try to cap out at 15 people because I feel any bigger than that and I really don't get that bonding experience. Not that I couldn't do a different type of retreat where it was a bigger group of people, but my favorites are the smaller retreats and you can still monetize on those.
Yes, you can. So here's what I want your listeners to hear. I mean, there are small retreats, there are medium-sized retreats, there are big retreats. You need to start small. Start small and start local if you want to start. It's someplace. If you want, just start. Just do it, as the Nike ad says, right? You just do it. So you can do that with even as few as 6 or 8 paying participants, paying clients, and go someplace local and start small. You can start for, 3 days if you want, and really kind of bite off what you can chew, what you can manage. And then if you want to grow from there, you'll glean from the first retreat that you do how you want to do things differently, when you want to offer it, who you want to offer it to. It's part of your learning process as an entrepreneur and as a retreat facilitator. Once you get past your first one, it's always scary doing anything for the first time. Once you do it for the first time, you can start small, start local, but then it will really educate you on how you want to grow and embed these into your business moving forward. So absolutely. And I think a really sweet spot, even for those who are multi 6-figure coaches and $1 million coaches, if they're really working at that high end mastermind, high end coaching program, this is a VIP clientele. I really like the sweet spot of 12 to 14 paying participants and 1 to 2 facilitators. I think that, if people are going to pay, part of what they're paying for is the intimacy factor. It's the intimacy not only with you as a facilitator and above all with you as a facilitator, but that intimacy that they're going to have with the other participants. If there's 85 people in the room, you are not connecting with the facilitator in the same way, and you're certainly connecting with the other 84 participants. So I like them intimate. I think they are juicier. I think you can get deeper with people. You open people up, get to deeper levels of vulnerability, growth, learning, all of that wonderful stuff that we're here to do with our clients. So I like to keep the numbers small myself.
I do too. And one of the things that I really would love for you to touch on, I think we might have touched on it a little bit in the last episode, but when I've been to so many retreats because I love them, but I've been to retreats where it was so much education that my brain just fried and I came home exhausted and I really didn't retain anything. Then I went to retreats that were like girls' weekend, right? A long girls' weekend. It was fun. But I learned nothing. And there is a balance. How do we get to that balance where people are leaving filled on every level?
That's a fantastic question, Jana. And that's actually part of what I really help folks figure out is the format and the flow. Because I talked a little bit about this in my first podcast, which was the 3 elements that I really strongly advise that everyone incorporate into their retreats to have them be successful and, listen up, impactful. So it's not just a vacation. So there does need to be some educational training or teaching content that is ideally facilitated by you and or maybe a co-facilitator. But you need to be part of this equation because they are paying for your wisdom, your knowledge, your healing, your coaching technique, whatever that is that you're bringing to the table. So that needs to be an important element, because you do want to be able to come away having said that you've learned something or that there's been this incredible change or transformation or impact or aha moment, right? But that's only about 2 to 4 hours a day, only 2 to 4 hours a day. So this is not a conference where you're stuck in a hotel meeting room for 12 hours a day. Oh my God, no, this is the antithesis of that. So the other part of the day, other than that 2 to 4 hours, you are spending either in doing one of two things. So we talk about the together time. So you're either with the other folks doing some excursions, some activities, having meals together, and really bonding. It's that bonding with the other people and having a chance to explore and intersect and experience the wonderful location that you've chosen, right? And the beautiful venue, all of that. That's the together time. And then the third element is the downtime. So really giving people a chance to have, whether they're having spa treatments or they're taking around the grounds or they're doing some reflecting and journaling or meditation work or just having a chance to go take an afternoon nap, you're allowing people to have that processing, absorption, reflection time. Without that, it's very hard to create that impact and that transformation. So that's really part number 3 is the downtime.
So another question I have for you is, if you're brand new and you're like, I want to add retreats, I'm a coach, I have clientele that will come to these and benefit from it, where do I get started? So I will tell you, I'm a just jump in. I don't toe dip anything. So when I decided I want to do a retreat, I did a retreat. It was the most exhausting thing. It was successful, but let me tell you, it could have been way more successful without all the mistakes that I made and running around trying to fix them during the retreat. I feel like it went by so fast. I don't remember any of it, the very first one. And I didn't even know there were people who did them like you, who had every feet on the ground there, right? It wasn't like I picked a place, I don't know anything about it. What am I going to do? How do I get people back and forth? You guys have had feet on the ground in all these locations.
Yeah. So what we do is we work with practitioners in a few different ways. There's a range of services that we provide, and I know that your listeners will have an opportunity to go listen to my Business of Bonding and see a video and take our 15-question retreat ready assessment. So that's a good place to start, is to figure out where you are in your business, and there's an invitation to jump on my calendar and come have a chat with me. And I'm not a hard sale person. I'm a coach, by the way. I've been a coach for 20 years, and once a coach, always a coach. So I am really dedicated to helping you get to your end goal. And what that means is also doling out some tough love every now and again and say, okay, you know what? I think you're not quite ready, but here are the steps that you can take to get ready. Or if you're ready, I'll tell you about the range of things that we offer, everything from done with you courses to really hammer out your entire retreat in 6 weeks. We have a 1-week retreat. We're going to be going to Costa Rica later this year. And you can hammer it out in a week with me in Costa Rica if you want, around the infinity pool and cocktails, and while zip lining and horseback riding. But also, you can, we have also the done for you services, right? So, and there's a whole range, because there are people who are do-it-yourselfers, and I want to provide a product for them and send them off with my blessing and make sure that they can go off confidently and comfortably, really feeling that they've got what they need to plan their first retreat, all the way up to the coaches or the healers and the transformations who are like, Tamara, I want you to do this for me because I don't want to touch this with a 10-foot pole. That's not my zone of genius. And I just don't want to have any part of it. You do it for me. And I've got, services and products for those folks as well. So we really run the gamut.
I know that I would love to say I'm a hands-on, do it with me, but I'm not, because I feel like you always put people in their zone of genius, and that's when you get the best results. And that is out of my wheelhouse. I just want to show up and shine in my space. And so it gives me that energy to do that. It's exhausting if you're wearing all the hats at a retreat and you're running it. It is totally exhausting. So I think that the first step would be definitely to take that assessment, see where you're at. If you're really interested in doing retreats, booking that call and getting some advice, some tough love, some answers on what package works best for you. But the most important thing is to take a step to do it, because your people are looking for it, right? They're looking for it. And if you don't provide it, they will find somebody who will.
Yeah. And it's such a differentiator. Listen, I have to say, with this past year, and I want you to think about this for a minute, we've all been forced to be virtual. We've been forced to be virtual in most cases in our businesses, been forced to be virtual. Our kids are homeschooling, just virtual. the pendulum is now starting to swing to the opposite end, right? Where people do not want virtual. They want to get in person with you. You can do your online coaching program. That's phenomenal. But if you really want to touch people deeply and you want to go to those higher ticket programs and those VIP clientele, adding an in-person component like a retreat is really going to let you get there in a concrete way. And so I really want to start with you around the conversation of how does this work in terms of your overall programming? What's the vision that you have for embedding this into your business? I love starting with that conversation because that conversation has to be had, Jana, before we start planning the retreat. Okay, that you got to understand your why. We all have to understand and start with our why. So I love having those conversations. And I am a coach. A coach's coach. I will tell you what I think in terms of where you are in your business and how it can fit. And if there are some pieces missing, tell you what I think those pieces might be to get you to where you want to go. Because I ultimately am committed to your success.
So I will say, when I first started working with you, I had no idea what to expect, right? And you are so detailed. I'm OCD, you're detail oriented. I just feel so much more confident when everything's in its place flowing, right? I also am flexible, and I understand that you just got to be flexible. Sometimes things don't work out like you planned them, even with the greatest planners. But you were already making the process so much easier and taking my energy and my mind into the space that I really want it to be in to help the clients that show up. And so I'm really grateful that I met you.
Yeah, it's important. And Jana, that's something you bring up a really good point, and you've touched on it a couple of times in our course of our conversation today. And that is really making sure that you have some support with you on the ground during your retreat. Now, you may not need that if you've got 6 people or even 8 people, but here's what I find. I find that anytime you're at 10 people or above, you should have some help. And if that may be that you coordinate with one of the people attending, if they're really, let's say they're a close friend or somebody who's now in your inner circle, maybe you cut them a break on their, on their hotel room or the cost of the program, but you make some sort of an arrangement with them that they are there to help you and that they're going to be your wing person for that time, but get some help, whether it's an arrangement you make like that, or you hire someone on to be there on site with you. But it's really important. It's really important that you go into the retreat and that for the duration of the retreat, that you are there only to hold space for your clients, for those retreat participants, and be in the glory and share that wisdom. And God, please enjoy yourself as well. So that anything you can do to allow yourself to just relax, ground, center, and settle into being that gracious retreat hostess and just sharing of your wisdom and enjoying yourself along with your clients. That is really your job on retreat, not dealing with the logistics, not dealing with any complaints or issues that come up. That is something that you should be handing off to someone else.
By the way, I do take a team with me when I go. Like, that was one of the things we had talked about, that I do have several people that go with me to make sure that everything is being facilitated. I'm not missing it. I know that you can't have a perfect retreat. It's, by the way, there's no such thing as perfection, and you want that amazing feedback so you can keep growing and improving on what you're offering people. But it's been pretty good. I think my biggest mistake on my first retreat was not scheduling downtime for me. So we all shared rooms, and I shared room with someone who talked all night because they were so excited to be there with me. And you like literally get exhausted. If you are the one hosting the retreat, you really have to schedule not only for the guest at the retreat, but for yourself, that downtime, that separation to regroup, energize, get your focus back, and go in a really powerful way. And that was my biggest mistake that I no longer make.
Yeah, definitely have a room to yourself. And by the way, especially if we're depending on where you are, introversion, extroversion scale. And I don't even care where you are on that scale, but you need some downtime no matter what. But make sure you have a bedroom to yourself. Make sure that you arrive, if you're traveling someplace, always arrive a day ahead of time. I recommend that people stay a day after for compression as well. And so they can do some reflection and maybe journaling or talking with their team about what went well, what could have gone better, doing a debrief. So I always recommend that you have that little bit of time on either side. And I just want to point this out because a lot of people say, oh, I'm just going to do it at a condo, or I'm going to rent an Airbnb. At those kinds of there's obviously pros cost wise to those types of venues, but understand that you are in a home where it's going to feel like you're the hostess, and it's harder in Airbnb for you to step away diplomatically and get that alone time that you need. Okay. So I just want to say that because I've seen it happen again and again. It's easier to get that alone time when you're at a hotel or a resort or some type of a venue where it's not, it doesn't feel like you are the hostess and the whole time, but there's an expectation that people will go to their rooms and have that downtime that they need, you included.
So true that, because that's exactly how I do my retreats. But as they're growing, I think that I definitely will do the Airbnb, but have everyone stay at a local hotel and just show up at the Airbnb for the retreat part and then go back. So you have that downtime. And by the way, great advice. We always are there a week. We're there a couple days before and at least a day after, because you absolutely do need that time to prepare, to be ready, to decompress and get back into the focus, even if that means just journaling or getting out those little quick thank you cards real quickly. But 100% true that.
and reconciling your finances also after, sometimes you'll have expenditures, all of those logistical things going into the retreat and coming out of the retreat, an extra day on either end.
So real quickly, for beginners who are coaches or in the health and wellness field, and they want to start a retreat, how many people is a good start?
I think 6 to 8. I think, you can have a retreat. I mean, I know people, honestly, Jana, who have had retreats over this past year because things have been really keeping it way, way, way small, within people's comfort zone. People have started with 4 clients and themselves, and facilitating a group, a very small group, and they've done it in an Airbnb, and everybody has their own room, and and that feels very safe and comfortable for people. So you have to do what works best for you. You definitely have to do what works best for your clientele and make sure that everybody feels safe and comfortable. But as we grow and the comfort level with people being in groups grows, which it's starting to do, by the way, I think we can all be in agreement about that, no matter where you are in the US, that now we're going to move up to sort of the 6 and 8 people, and then we'll get to the 10 and the 12. And like I said, I mean, I know people who have been filling retreats with 20 people. And this was, the one I'm thinking of in particular was back in March, early March. So I'm just saying, it just depends on you, and it depends on your clients, and, you know your clients best, or worst case scenario, survey them, find out what they're comfortable with. And if they're not comfortable now, when will they be comfortable, and what does that need to look like for them? And that way you can plan ahead.
I love it. Thank you so much for this second part, why in-person retreats are hot and here to stay, because they are, and I love them.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Definitely go to the website. We're going to put up all of Tamara's links. Go to the website, take the survey, book that call if you're interested in finding out more, or how you too can start hosting your own retreats. If you don't, I will. I will be taking your clients. So definitely get in there and see how you can start creating that magic in your own business. Thank you so much, Tamara.
Thank you, Jana.
Thanks for listening to the Oh My Health, There Is Hope podcast. Make sure to visit Jana's website, bestholisticlife.com, where you can subscribe to the show on iTunes, Google Play, or listen there, so you'll never miss an episode. While you're at it, if you found value in the show, we'd appreciate a rating on iTunes, or if you simply tell a friend about the show. That'll help too. Let's change the world together, one health expert at a time. Looking forward to seeing you next time.